It's been nearly 7 years since the Apple battergate scandal first broke, and people are now receiving settlement checks for it. For anyone who doesn't know, this was a class action lawsuit where Apple was allegedly intentionally slowing down older iPhones via software updates without notifying the public. The reason they were doing this was simple. The peak performance capability of lithium-ion batteries degrades over time, and if you had an iPhone before 2017, you may have noticed that as it aged, it would randomly shut down, especially if you were in a cold weather climate. This software fix worked to slow down the processor so it demanded less of the battery, causing less random shutdowns. In Apple's eyes, this was a better outcome for consumers, as they would not be left stranded when their phone shut down. But many people were not happy with this, as they took it in the light that Apple was slowing down their phones to force them to buy a new iPhone earlier than they originally intended. Now, while Apple's approach here was pro-consumer in the end, as they were trying to make phones last longer, they really should have made this a decision that the consumer can make on their own. All it would have taken was a slider within the battery settings that enabled or disabled peak performance demand from the battery. This would allow the consumer to decide whether or not they wanted to have the fastest speed the phone can offer, or a little bit more reliability at the cost of a slower phone. This does go along really well with Apple's philosophy of simplicity, so in the end, I guess it makes sense that they went down the path they did. It just really isn't right that they hid this from the public and hoped that no one would notice. There was nothing in the update notes that said that they would be slowing down people's phones. This caused a lot of users to feel cheated, as they need to update their phones to keep up with the latest security, but at the same time doing so would slow down their device. Apple definitely learned from this, given the fact that this lawsuit ended up costing them nearly $500 million. Just this past week, many users who were part of the class action lawsuit received a $92 credit into their bank accounts, many of which who have waited years for the settlement. What is all of your opinion on this whole thing? I personally believe that Apple should have been more transparent with these slowdowns, as it was good for them to try to prolong the life of some of these phones with degrading batteries, especially given how expensive it is to swap batteries on these phones, which are minimally repairable. I hope you all enjoyed this discussion, and if you did, please do like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.